What is up, guys? My name is Jessica. I am an occupational therapist by trade, and one of the things that I also do is I help pre-occupational therapy students get into OT school successfully, and help them become the OT that they want to be. And one of the ways that we do this is through our Facebook group, right? Because it allows students the opportunity to ask questions. And we got a question asked in our Facebook group from one of our students, and she asked, how do I get a certification? And so, Miranda, this video is for you, girl. I hope that you and many others find it helpful. So, as far as the certification goes, my number one piece of advice on how to get one is, you know, think, always think about the patient first, all right, and the population that you're serving, right? So, and the population that you want to serve. Because if you start that way and you go about it from that angle, then you're going to see, is this a certification that you're really going to need? Is this a certification that's going to get you to where you want to be? And is this a certification that you really want? And how can you make the most of this certification? And I think those are some very critical questions to ask as you're thinking about pursuing a certification, because a lot of times, I've seen people and have heard of people pursuing a certification just because they want a few extra letters behind their name. And I have seen that that is not the best way to go about it, because it doesn't add to patient care. It doesn't add to the fulfillment that you'll have in your career. And it just does no one any good. So if you're like, the first step, I think, in getting a certification and how to go about it is assess, right? So you want to ask the right questions, right? So number one, how do I get one? Ask the right questions. And number two, get mentorship. Because the thing about it is that when it comes to being an expert in whatever it is you want to be an expert in, because you're wanting to specialize, right? You could get a certified driving rehabilitation specialist, certification, or a certified hand therapy, certification. And these things are not just easily done without mentorship or the experience. So you need someone who is an expert in certified driving rehabilitation, or a certified hand therapist, or assisted animal, therapy, right? So if you want any of those specialties, right, you need someone who has been through the tracks. You need someone who has already been there, done that, to help you get there. So that's another thing that I would add to how do I get a certification in the world of OT, is through mentorship. And in addition to that, I'm going to add another piece of the puzzle to getting a certification, and that is getting into the right setting. If you think that you want to get a certified driving rehabilitation specialist, if you want to get that certification, you need to work in a place and in a setting where that is actually going to be possible and where you can implement it, right? So, for example, if that's what you want, right, you really want to be a certified driving rehabilitation specialist, maybe working in pediatrics is not going to be the best setting for you, because especially if, the kids that you're seeing are toddlers and, up to elementary age and so forth, right? So think about the setting, right? And like that, you can provide that value to the patients that you are currently serving. So if you want a certain certification, I think it's not just important to only get the mentorship, but it's important to get into the right setting. The other piece of the puzzle, I would say, is be ready to invest in your learning, right? And by that, I mean it's going to take, you know, time, money, and energy and resources. So this is why I'm also making this video, because I don't want people to think that getting a certification in whatever is like a light thing, because some certifications out there really do require a lot of extensive studying. It requires a lot of extensive experience. So, for example, for the certification that I want to pursue and become a certified hand specialist, that requires 4,000 hours or 3 years of experience. And that is, you know, in and of itself a requirement, and that you need to be aware of those requirements, right? Um, which brings me to my next point. You have to be aware of your requirements. So, how do you go about it? You have to be aware of the requirements, and stay aware, right? And the reason why I say that is because for the certified hand therapy certification, the number of years actually lowered. It used to be 5 years, now it's 3. So things do change in the requirements, and so you want to stay aware of what are the requirements for whatever certification that you want to get. And you know, there are so many certifications out there. You can certify in aquatic therapy. You can certify in assisted animal assisted therapy. You can certify in lymphedema therapy. So think about, again, all right, I'm going to recap here. You know, the questions, think about the right questions and assess, right? So how do you go about it? You need to assess. You need to be in the right setting. You need to get the mentorship that you need. You need to be ready to invest your time, money, and energy into this certification. And I think if you do those things, you'll find that the certification process will be a lot more fluid, because you'll have that narrow path that you're following. You know, so I just also wanted to bring the other side of getting a certification, and that is the point that as you certify in something, you're basically niching down, and you're saying that this is the one thing that I can do. What does that mean, right? Like, it means that you're narrowing your options as you know, with the certification. Now, the good thing though is that when it comes to certifying in anything, it does not mean that you're married to that certification. You could still go more broadly. So let's say 10 years from now, I decide, you know, I've been a certified hand therapist for all these years. I'm tired of this. I want to, you know, only like treat, you know, like I want to be a regular pediatric therapist and treat children with autism, you know, and it's in that sense, it's pretty unrelated to outpatient ortho, right? So now it doesn't mean that you can't combine certain certifications, which is another point that I have. So let's say I really have a heart for children with autism, but I also have a big, huge heart for ortho, right? And I'm a certified hand therapist already. You could still technically certify in both, and you could be considered an expert in both areas. So just think about that, right? And the way I kind of see it, I guess, is that children with autism too, they can break a bone and they'll have to go through a healing process. And as someone that's maybe specialized in autism and certified hand therapy, I can assist them and I can help them. So you need to think about it, I think, like that. And I think if you do that, you'll find a lot more fulfillment in your pursuit of this certification, whatever it is, and it'll be a lot smoother process. And that, in my opinion, is how you go about getting a certification, my friends. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.